Yeah, I can remember it was a Wednesday night, and my wife and I were really wrestling with a very difficult decision for us. And the decision was whether we should stay here at Central in the Niagara region or whether we should go, because we'd been given an offer to go pastor in BC. It was a Wednesday night. I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and I was turning, trying to make this decision. And I was asking God, just, can you please show me? I don't know if you've ever been there where it's like, God, could you just show me? Like, could you make this easy? Because it's too difficult. I feel like in either decision, there's going to be a great win and great loss. And I can just remember, the only way I can kind of explain it was God gave me this download. I don't know how to explain it any other way. It was just like this vision for the Niagara region. And so I got up and I began to write furiously. I didn't edit. I didn't think about it. I just wrote furiously, and I wrote about 10 pages that night. And the next morning when I looked at it, it was clear, crystal clear. This is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I remember for me, back about 10 years ago in British Columbia, I was going to school, and one of the first people I met was actually Pastor Bill. And it was actually, before he was Pastor Bill, he was just Professor Bill, I guess, or just Bill.
Yeah, well, the very first time I met Justin, he was a kid a little bit lost. That's the only way I think he'd be okay with me saying that.
It was interesting because for me, I didn't really know why I was at school. I knew for me, I wanted to be there.
He showed up at the college where I taught, and he had these really nasty dreadlocks. I mean, they were nasty. I mean, there are dreadlocks that are kind of cool. These were bad. I mean, these redhead dreadlocks, matted down. It was awful. And I can remember thinking to myself, who is this kid and why has he come to Bible college?
I thought I was just, sort of a hippie musician. I had dreadlocks, and he saw through that, even though I was white and extremely not dreadlock friendly, he still saw some potential in me.
But it didn't take me really long to see past all the facade and see that God was doing something in him. He's got such a heart for people and for God, and I could see it. And so I can remember those initial conversations, coaching him through that kind of stuff and walking through his own story. And I just knew there was something special.
You fast forward 10 years later, I remember we began striking up these conversations about what was happening here at Central. And we began talking through just the idea of church planting and campus planting.
So when the opportunity came to work with him, and when I started thinking about launching campuses, he came to my mind immediately. I knew that he and Mel, who is incredibly gifted, that couple had something special about them and that they were supposed to plant something. And so I immediately asked them if they would do it with us.
I remember the initial conversations we had with Bill about campuses and what that would look like to come to Central and start a campus. And it was really exciting until we got to the point where we had to do something kind of crazy. And I always thought that not having a job for 8 months is something you just don't do. It's not a wise decision. So when we decided that was the best thing for us to do is to just begin this journey and really get to know Central and find out what this all means. And so we made that step, and that was a scary step.
I remember early days of campus planting in Niagara Falls. I really had no idea what I was doing, to be totally honest. I remember sitting in my office actually with a list of about 300 names of people I never met, and of just people who had, potentially come to Central at some point, lived in Niagara Falls, and I just began, Melanie and I, we began this journey of just calling through this list, talking to anybody who would talk to us, to say, hey, we're looking to plant this campus, and we don't really know what it's going to look like, where it's going to be. what it's going to feel like per se, but we just know a couple things. We know we love Jesus a lot, and we just really want to see people come to new life in Him. I remember back in the beginning of our campus, just after we had launched, one of the families that came, one of the sort of founding families was this family called the Milne family. And it was funny because we sent out, must have been thousands, like 10,000 or something like that, postcards to people in our community. And we had one family that came, this was them. So we actually, I brought one with me here. This was the card that we actually sent out. And they received it, and they decided they just were going to come.
It's kind of a funny story, actually. I was at home, and there was a postcard in the mail, and it was a postcard from Justin and Melanie, and it had their picture on the front, and it said, "Please join us for the opening of our new church." That was in Niagara Falls, and so I took the postcard, and it was kind of intriguing, so I slid over to my husband, and I said, you know, what do you think about checking out this church on Saturday night? And he said, sure, let's try it.
When I met them initially, they said, you know, how did you find out about Central? And Christine said, well, we got your postcard, and so we just thought we'd come and check it out. And so from there, we began this relationship. They began coming every week, and we got to know them, and they were actually one of the families that really was one of the first families that just committed. They said, this is where we want to be. And that after we had launched, this wasn't our launch team, this was a brand new family. And so we were pretty excited about them coming and being a part of things.
I'm Shauna, and I decided to accept Jesus in my life about a year and a half ago. My story began about 5 years ago when me and my husband went through a kind of rough turmoil time in life. We had some pretty challenging financial issues that came up, and we ended up losing a home. And I'd say about a year and a half ago is when I met Christine.
I remember the day I met Shauna. It was on the schoolyard. Our kids go to school together, and she was a really friendly person, actually, and I'm quite introverted. So she invited me over for tea, and I thought to myself, you know, do I really want to go for tea? Is this someone I want to, you know, spend time with and be friends with? But I really felt that God was nudging me to go and spend some time with her.
I knew Christine to say hi, and I had seen her standing there watching her daughter Faith play on the playground with my boys. And I ended up sparking up a conversation with her. And now I know that it was a God thing, because Christine is more of an introvert, and I did notice that she wasn't, always really talking with all the mums and stuff.
So I went to her place, and one of the first questions she asked me was about God. So I knew in that moment that, you know, He wanted for us to have some time together and some conversation. So as she shared her story with me, she had a really hard upbringing, and she was hurting a lot and really wanted to change her life, and I could really relate to that part of her story.
She taught me, you know, God's word and God's truth, and she was a very healthy person at the time that I needed to teach me those things.
I just really felt that God was saying, you know, you need to see her in this situation through my eyes. So I decided to be obedient, and really I just had made a choice that I was going to just show her the things that I had learned in my past, how God loved her and forgave her for her past, and that if she put her trust in Him, that she would not regret it.
Come on in.
Great. Well, hi, Christine.
I'm surprised you're here.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Well, thank you so much for coming. And a bit surprised, eh?
Yeah, I am.
Well, you know, the amazing thing is we've been telling your story. And so we really wanted to just take a moment to honor you
Oh, boy.
and to say thank you.
It's all about God. It's not about me.
And I think what I love about you, Christine, is just for me, having a chance to get to know you, your family, the many hours that I've actually sit in your living room, we've talked, and to hear the story of what God is doing in your life, for me, is so inspirational. I know for you, you've told me over and over again, it's God, it's just normal for me. But for me, I see you as someone who's extremely courageous, making decision after decision after decision. And your story that you're telling, to me, is just extremely inspirational.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and so what would you say if I were to tell you that your courageous obedience has impacted so many lives?
You know what? It's one life at a time. And I just, someone spoke into my life a long time ago. And I'm just so thankful and just want to share that with people, And really, that's really what it's about.
So if you were to tell someone else, why should you do this? What would you say to them?
Why should they tell people about God?
Yeah.
I would tell them because they have no idea the blessing, not only that they'll give to someone else. Like Shauna just really wanted, she just wanted someone to say she's forgiven and what, that could be in her past and she could change, Justin. And really that's all she needed. She just needed grace. And I remember when I received grace. And so I would tell people you just never know how much someone's life could change, her family, her kids, the next generations. So, and she blessed me so much. I learned so much. And Justin, I've shared some with you. I thought I was just blessing her, but actually she's been blessing me. She's amazing. She's a beautiful person. So I just feel honored that God actually used me and my brokenness and my really simple life at the playground, to help her. And it's just I feel so honored.
That's awesome. Well, we didn't want to just tell you that you made a big impact. We actually, if you just want to turn around, we actually wanted to show you the people that you've impacted.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe this. Hi, you guys. Wow. I am shocked. I love you guys. Well, I don't know what to say. I just love you all so much, and you mean so much to me. Hi, Lucas. I love you. Wow, this is just incredible.
I asked some of your friends, your family, just to share a few things that of how you've impacted their lives. Again, when we talk about small decisions that have massive impact, to me, that's what epitomizes your story. And so just a few of your family, your son Matt, here's what he says. He says, the biggest impact my mom has made was supporting me in my faith journey. She has been an example to me of living out a faith by loving in deed and truth. Here's what your sister Suzanne says. She says, one word to describe Christine is faithful. Faithful to God and to my family, always there when we need her. I know she is only one phone call away. And here's what your friend Shauna says. She says, I now have a much bigger purpose in life for me and my family.
And so we wanted to honor you because your courageous obedience has been an inspiration. Obviously, it's been an inspiration to those who are standing with you here today, but also to me personally and to our church. And I want to thank you for taking those steps of obedience, even though they may have felt really small or insignificant at the time, because those little choices were writing an amazing story, your story. And the cool thing about it is because you did that, now your story is interwoven with the stories of others, and you've made a huge, huge difference. 20 seconds of insane courage changes everything. And so we just wanted to take a moment together just to say thank you.
Christine, I want to let you know that what you've done for me and my family is truly priceless. And I thank you so much for your love and for sharing God and Jesus' love with us. I love you very much, Christine.